What if magic is just a science we don't yet understand? We've all heard that humans only use 10% of their brains. What if accessing the other 90 was as easy as signing up for camp? At Camp Quantum, we are taking ancient mystic and religious knowledge as well as modern-day science and metaphysics to make a step-by-step guide on attaining extrasensory perception and superhuman abilities. For 1 year, participants will be going through an intensive spiritual boot camp and science experiment while being observed, tested, and documented by professionals.
I had this really weird experience that kind of stopped me from meditating. I think I fell asleep meditating, and when I was sleeping it felt like I was being attacked, like I was physically in a fight, and I remember wrestling and just moving all over my bed, literally fighting and trying to force myself awake, and I couldn't, and it freaked me out. And the next morning when I got up, I saw my roommate. She came in and I was telling her about it, and then she looked at me like I was crazy, and she's like, "Oh my God, during that time that you were fighting, the man that I was out on a date with tried to rape me, and I was literally fighting for my life." So that was some kind of way I was helping her fight. Cool for her, kind of freaked me out, kind of stopped me from meditating as much as I used to.
Their training will be split into 4 categories: diet, exercise, knowledge, and technology. Nikola Tesla, Mahatma Gandhi, and Steve Jobs all had 2 things in common: brilliant minds and clean vegan diets. Participants will be giving up all meat, dairy, gluten, non-organic, and processed foods, as well as only consuming alkaline water. While most Westerners just think of yoga as a way to be relaxed and flexible, it is actually a practice meant to move energy throughout the body in a way that allows your third eye and crown chakra to activate, causing siddhis, or yogic, superhuman, and psychic powers to begin developing. The same goes for meditation, sun gazing, and energy work such as Tai Chi. Meditation and sun gazing will be required at the beginning and end of each day. Tai Chi and Kundalini yoga classes will be taken 3 times a week, and cardiovascular exercise 2 times a week minimum. Participants will go through a crash course on human consciousness and work with top intuitives training abilities such as remote viewing, channeling, psychokinesis, and clairvoyance. They will also be going through past life regression therapy, energy healing, and psychic deprogramming. Sleeping will be done in a Faraday cage, which blocks out all EMF and electromagnetic pollution, and on top of an amethyst biomat, which is a crystal healing technology based on quantum mechanics.
I think what scares me most about the study and about the experiment is maybe the Faraday cage and the possibility of getting into a space where sort of the veil is lifted and all that noise is gone. And I don't know if I'm ready to hear and see and feel everything that's going on around me on a daily basis. I think it's much more comfortable and easy to sort of remain, unaware. My psychic experiences are more basic, usually tied to family and loved ones, your friendships, just the basic thing. Like if you have someone in your senses or in your mind, and you've been thinking about them, it's often the case that you're transmitting these messages to these people, and they're transmitting them back to you. They're thinking about you too. They end up calling you in a day or two and saying, "Hey man, I've been thinking about you."
While sleeping, participants will be required to listen to a multitude of different frequencies, chants, and hypnotisms aimed at awakening the consciousness. Participants will also have access to Shiva neurostimulation technology, aka the God Helmet, which uses electromagnetics to amplify and accelerate extrasensory growth. During this year-long journey, the group will be traveling the world, living on different vortex points. The world's most prolific thinkers, such as Plato, have researched vortex points on the Earth, calling them the points where the energy grid lines on the planet meet. Sacred spiritual sites such as Stonehenge, Easter Island, and the Pyramids of Giza are all built on vortex points of the Earth to harness zero-point energy. In quantum physics, zero-point energy is also known as life force, or unconditional love, which is said to be an actual vibration flowing throughout the universe.
I called my boyfriend in DC and he didn't answer, and I was like, what is he doing? So I got in the car and I kind of curled up on the back seat to go to sleep. I was real upset, so I was crying, and I had a crystal. So I pulled out the crystal. It was a brand new crystal, my first crystal, and I had it cleaned and everything before I left DC, and I started bouncing the light off the street lamp. And like I said, I was crying. I was real upset. I was upset about my boyfriend not answering and wondering what he was up to. And all of a sudden, I had the perspective of being in his ceiling, looking down on him on the bed, sprawled out with all the lights on, just completely passed out. And almost as soon as I had the experience, I shook out of it, and I was like freaking out.
Join us at Camp Quantum as we put the human mind, body, and spirit to the ultimate test while trying to answer the question, if given absolute perfect conditions, can we achieve superhuman abilities?